Well, good morning. Welcome to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. This is Sandy. I'm wearing a scarf in solidarity because there's so many people cold. Actually, we're at 55 degrees this morning. It's supposed to be 80 today in Yuma, Arizona. But I'm feeling bad for my friends back home where it is cold. So today's a great topic. And it's all about why showing up matters more than talent. I think we're just told over and over and over again that talent is everything. Either you have it or you don't have it. But is that really actually true? I don't think so. A quick hello, Teresa. Hello, how are you this morning? BP is in today. Hello. And everybody else that's just listening to the live stream that isn't in the chat right now. Hello, hello, hello. Now, granted, there are some what we would call a savant. They're 3 years old and they can take a paintbrush and paint like somebody that is a master. There's ones that mathematically their brain just works even at a very young age, or plays the piano, can just listen to music and just play it without ever seeing the music. These are exceptions. But talent, you're not born with talent unless you're a savant. We have in our society just made it so that, oh, I'm not talented enough, I can't do this. Honestly, I'm going to say talent is overrated. It's seriously overrated. It's misunderstood. I think we don't understand because of the way our society is, that we don't understand that showing up is what really matters. Talent without action fades. But showing up consistently day after day after day, you grow that talent. There's a book that's called Outliers. And I've mentioned it before. It's a great, great book. It's just so interesting to see the whole concept of people. And some of it's just because based on your situation. But if you did not do the work, if you did not show up day after day after day, you wouldn't get to the point that people say, oh, they're so talented. They must have been born with that talent. No, they were born with that talent. Have you ever stopped yourself? You wanted to do something, you wanted to try something, but you stopped yourself because you thought you weren't talented enough. Showing up does not mean perfect. It doesn't mean that. It's starting before you feel ready. It's starting when you think you can't do it. And coming back after discouragement, really. Because all people that have really succeeded, that people say, oh, they're so talented, that it just comes so easy for them. You don't see all that stuff that goes on in the background. All those hours of work that they have done. Now, this works no matter in what kind of situation you're in. But one thing fear does is it stops you from starting. So if you can go past that, see beyond that fear. Say you want to be talented in some kind of creative way. I remember I was in an art show last spring. And I have shown in that art show, different pieces every year, but I've shown in that art show multiple years, right? Oh, BP drove through Yuma yesterday. I bet you're loving the weather there. I wish you would have stopped to see me. Next time, stop to see me. Just send me an email or text message it. We can work it out. Okay, back to our topic. See, when I stop my train of thought, it's horrible. But when people, oh, I remember now what I was talking about. My story. Sorry. So I'm in this art show, and I mean, a lot of the same people come through the art show. There's a lot of people in my town of Wyoming that own my art. And one of the gals came up to me and she said, I have so enjoyed the metamorphosis of your art from years ago when she first started buying my art to what my art is now. Now, people can say, oh, you're just so talented. It's not talent. It's showing up every day, doing paintings, correcting paintings, studying paintings, working, working, working. Talent is work. That's all there is to it. Unless you're a savant and it just comes somehow crazily into your brain, it's practice. It's showing up. Now, don't let anyone convince you that you're not good enough. If there's something you would like to do, it could be being a great mom. It could be something that's creative. It could be something at work. It could be just your homestead. Homesteaders are not talented. Homesteaders show up every day. Now they become talented because they've done the hard work. They've done it over and over and over again. If we remind ourselves that those small, simple steps repeatedly, it will make it so that all of a sudden you will be quote unquote talented in that area. But it's all about because you showed up. It's seriously because you showed up. Is there an area in your life that this week you would like to start showing up in? Maybe you want to start showing up in your family. You're really good at your job and other things, but by the time you get home, you're exhausted and you're just not there for your family. This week, be there for your family. You'd really like a promotion at work, but you really haven't been showing up. You've just been there. You've been doing the bare minimum, but you haven't really pushed yourself. Do that this week. If you're creative and there's always been something you wanted to do, painting, ceramics, pottery, whatever you use to express your art. This week, show up every single day. Do something every single day. And it doesn't matter if it's your family, your work, your art, your homestead. You just got to break it down and say, okay, I'm showing up. And all of a sudden, that talent becomes yours. When you show up for your family, it builds trust. You're being present even when you're tired. You're doing stuff that you really would rather not do, somebody else could do. Good morning, Steph. I'm listening at work. So sweet of you. Your family, let's say it this way. Your family doesn't need your talent. It needs you to be present. I know, and I know that it's hard sometimes because, well, I have to provide for my family. You do. We all have to provide for our families. Not just the man, not just the woman. All of us have to provide. And your children need to be present. They need to learn that skill of being present within that family unit. You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to show up. Because your family doesn't need you to be talented. They just want you there. They want to see you. They want to talk to you. They want to hear what you're doing, what you're going to do as a core family. That's what they want to do. Now, talent, quote unquote, gets a lot of attention. Showing up earns trust because you can be the most talented person in other areas of your life. And if you're not showing up for your family, there's going to be discourse in your family. I honestly see that even just with me and Joe. If I get busy and I'm not showing up for him, there's a disconnect, almost sometimes a contempt. And we don't ever want that in any area of our lives. You want to have that joy. Because what would happen, let's just say, what would happen if I focused on consistency instead of comparison? Because what do? We compare ourselves to other people, don't we? BP says, painting watercolors in college, I took an art class. I dropped out because I didn't know how to draw. Plus, unfortunately, I learned that I am a perfectionist. I can't get past the bad drawing. Okay, so I understand that. So start small. If you want to do watercolors again, the best way to do it, and right now it's so easy. When I was first learning, you either had to take college courses or private classes. There was a few public classes, but not like there is now. And now you can go on the internet and artists will show you how to do. Google on internet, on YouTube, watercolor classes or watercolors for beginners. And a lot of watercolors, you don't have to draw. And they will show you things online how to do that so that you can enjoy that dream that you had. It doesn't matter if your dream was so many years ago or if it's right now. Practice that dream. Be consistent. A friend of mine has retired last spring. And she wants to be a painter. She hasn't done it before. And so every day, probably about 5 days a week, she posts these little tiny watercolors that she's done. And through the months, I've seen the progression. And I'm just so excited for her that it was something she dreamed of doing. And so she showed up. And now the talent is starting to come along too, because she started to learn. Rebecca, how are you this morning? I hope you're doing good. I was thinking about you this morning. I was at our breakfast that we have on Monday mornings, and they were giving away free yarn. And one of the gal that sat at our table took it because she is making cozies for cups. And she made one for me. It's just adorable. And I was thinking about you when she was taking that yarn. Now, very few artists have any talent. They don't. You're not born with it. They just start willing. They create, like some days I go in and I work on my art when I do not want to. But it doesn't take me long once I'm doing it that it's like, okay, and how many pieces of art do I make that nobody ever sees? I mean, at the shows or at a gallery, my really good ones are going in there. But behind the scenes, nobody sees all the ones that I go, oh yeah, that's crap. I'm going to have to work on that later. So a lot of times I'll set them to the side and then I'll come back and I'll work on them. But what would happen if I showed up every single day to create? I would get better. And it would be that woman that last spring that said, I love the evolution of what your art has done. Because I have tried to be consistent. Now, what if you were faithful on your homestead? And maybe that homestead is your backyard. It's your balcony on your apartment. It's a little patio, or you have 40 acres. It doesn't really matter what size that is. Now, BP says, that leads me to my quilting. I learned that I love making quilt tops, but can't finish the quilt because I can't decide with the stitching pattern on the top. But BP, wouldn't it be better to finish it even if you weren't sure? Just pick one of those tops. And the more you do it, the more you will go, oh, I like this style when they stitch the top other than better than this style? Because I'm sure the quilts are just fabulous. And if they're just waiting and nobody gets to love them other than you, um, just do it. Just pick a stitching pattern. If you don't, when it's all the way done, you don't like it, go, okay, my next one, I won't use that pattern. But you may learn to love everyone and learn to love so many different tops, because I have a lot of quilts, and like this one is all hand done, but it's a very old quilt. I actually got this for free from a friend of mine. Her mother went into assisted living, and she said it wasn't one of her mom's quilts, but the it's all hand stitched on top. Now I don't know if she used a machine on the rest of it, and actually this trim right here does look like it was probably machined, but all of this has hand stitching on it. So sometimes you just gotta do it. But I love quilts, and so a lot of them are machine stitched on top. And some patterns of that stitching I like better than others. But I love all of the quilts. It's just so amazing how talented. But were they talented? No, it was practice. It was going every day to the sewing machine and doing stitches and cutting patterns and cutting material, and till you became what somebody says is talented. Now, homesteading. Homesteading probably teaches showing up versus talented better than any other thing. Why? Because even when you're tired, even when it's below zero, you got to go out and water those animals. You got to feed those animals. Your garden doesn't care if you're talented. Your garden does care if you're consistent, if you show up. And you can take that into every area of your life. Are you showing up? Are you just doing things like a robot? Oh, I got to get this done, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I got it done. Check it off. But there was no joy in it. You weren't really there. You weren't really showing up. I mean, you did the task. But what I'd like you to think about this week is, what area in my life can I be consistent this week? And I'm going into that consistency with joy. I'm going into that. Maybe it won't work exactly like I wanted it to work. Maybe it will even fail. But even if it fails, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try again. I'm going to see what I learned from it. I'm going to try again. A homesteader learns when a crop fails, but they consistently try to do it again. That farmer is always going to plant again, even with it was horrible weather last summer. Maybe there was a hailstorm last summer. A homesteader is just going to trust in that slow growth of being a homesteader. And I think in every area of our life, we have to show up. Small, faithful tasks will really make the difference. It will make the most of what you're doing right then. And I think a lot of times we don't think so. It doesn't matter if it's family, it's work, it's art, it's homesteading, all teach the same lesson. Life rewards people who show up again and again and again. If you're showing up, your life is going to get rewarded. If you're there, if you're present, even when nobody's watching. It is when you show up, when you do the things. Okay, this is what I got to do this week. And I'm doing it with purpose. I'm doing it with a heart that is not bitter. Life rewards you. It's true. And it doesn't matter. Show up this week imperfectly, but intentionally. And you will be amazed. Now, what area in your life would you like to show up? Put it in the chat if you're brave enough. Sometimes people don't want to say stuff like that. But if you are, put it in the chat, and maybe between the chat and me, maybe we can help you in some area. But that small, consistent motion, showing up is just, it makes it into big gestures. You know, that person that's at work, and the person with the talent, oh, glamour, boop, 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 everybody wants to be them. But that person that's there at work, you're not getting the glamour, but you're consistent. Seriously, you are the person that builds that company. Talented people can be very flashy, and they're there and then they're gone. But if you're a consistent worker, if you come to your job with joy, you are the one, you and others in that company are the backbones of that company. And I hope that it would help you to, because really talent is a process of learning. And that learning, it's really, it's repetition. I guess that's the word for it. I was trying to think of a good word for that. It's not confidence, it's doing it over and over again. I become a better painter because I do it over and over and over again. And sometimes I got to rush a painting. Something I got to do, oh, I'm behind, I'm rushing the painting. I'm never happy with that. BP says, thanks for a good kick in the butt. I have been quilting for years, so I need to get back to it and finish those tops. You too, girl. I think you will be just so amazed and happy. And like when I quilt, I do more just wall hangings. Not that I haven't quilted big quilts, because I have, but sometimes I'll just do tops like you did. And because I like to add layers. I like to do appliques on top of, but I like back home, I have these stacks of little quilts that I haven't done anything with. That's something I need to do. I need to add those appliques or just do a top or whatever I'm going to do to finish it. Because how many of us have projects? It may not necessarily art projects, but projects around our house, projects at work, projects that we've started with our family and we have not finished them. So let's, this week, pick one project. Just pick one. BP, pick one quilt. Pick one project that you haven't finished and be consistent this week. And, say, I'm going to spend an hour each day for 5 days. And just see how far you get. Sometimes if there's projects and I really don't want to do them, it's not like I don't like the project. I'm just in that mood and I just don't want to do it. It's just facts. I just don't want to do it. If I just go out and start it, it's just like, what was my problem? Why was I not being consistent? Why was I not showing up every day to do this project? And it's amazing how fast things can get done. It's just, I just think talent can start things, but showing up every single day, that's what finishes things. And don't judge yourself against other people, because that's a losing battle. Because there will be always somebody, quote unquote, more talented than yourself. Even those people that are really talented, there's somebody that's more talented than them. Why? Because every day they're showing up. If they're doing the work and all of a sudden it becomes second nature to them. They know what to do, what to say, how to place things, how to do the work. And then you become talented. And I just think it's important for us to, no matter where in your life you are, it doesn't matter if you're a young person, middle age, you're an old person, show up every single day. And one of the worst excuses that we have is, I'm just too busy. Then, then what I have to do is I have to say, okay, if I'm too busy to do these, to be present, what kind of things do I have to push away? I say no to, because people will suck you dry. If you're somebody that they know will do the work, the saying is, if you want something done, ask a busy person. Well, that's true. I have to say that's true, because a busy person, they're showing up every single day. They're doing the work. But there isn't any reason why you can't do that. There's no reason why we can't say, okay, this is my job. Now, some things you may have to delegate, within your family, within your work, within the group that you're doing that project for. But you still have to show up every single day. BP says, I gave up years ago judging myself over others. Not worth the brain power. Girl, that is true words, true words. Because those same people are judging themselves too, and you are enough. And actually, I'm going to do a live stream on being enough. What day is that? I already put all of them up. Oh, on the 16th, which, note, is a Monday. But that week, when I have my Thursday live stream, it's not going to be Thursday night. It's going to be on the 18th, because I have something I cannot get out of on Thursday night. So that week, Monday is still the same, but Thursday is on Wednesday instead. But it's already posted. But we're going to talk about being enough, what that means, what it looks like, really. Because a lot of times I think people aren't enough. So they're judging themselves based on other people. But really, what they really just need to do is be enough within themselves, that you have enough, you are enough. We're going to talk about that. So that should be an interesting topic. And that is in 2 weeks that we're talking about learning to be content with enough. And I think that should be a real interesting talk. But if there's anything I hope that you take away from today, is that this week, you're just going to pick one thing. One thing that you can just say, okay, I'm going to show up every single day for that. Sometimes, because a lot of things that we do are behind the scenes, we don't get that people saying thank you. Maybe it's your family not saying thank you. It's at work they're not saying thank you. But really, if you're consistent, if you keep doing that, all of a sudden, you're the go-to person. That's the person that your family trusts, your work trusts, other artists trust, on your homestead. It may be just your animals trusting you. If you're out there and you're doing it, and nobody's seeing all that stuff, but you're showing up every single day for the animals, for your crops, for your whole homestead. And even if nobody else sees that, you're by yourself, or you're a couple, or you're a family, and nobody else sees all that, it still comes back to you. It is still one of the most gratifying things, because you can look at what you've done and you go, I've been consistent. I've done this day and day and day and day after day. And my homestead is a success. I understand the things that I did that failed. What can I do to change that? In your family, even when you're tired, you've been working all day, or you've had the kids all day, and your husband comes home and you expect him to just take care of the kids because you need an hour or two. And you may need that hour or two, but maybe just put the kids to bed early, because he's been working all day too. So if you can compromise and help each other and not have that friction, because you're both showing up every single day. And maybe you can make that evening something that you're both doing stuff with the kids. So we're at 30 minutes. Have a great, great day. Thursday night's live stream is my worst baking fails. And so we're going to talk about, because I consider myself a very good baker now, but I've had plenty of fails when it comes to baking. And so it's going to be a fun, lighthearted night of my baking fails. And I'm going to tell you some stories, and hopefully you'll tell some stories in the chat too. But everybody, thank you so much. If you're watching this on the replay, I so appreciate it. Make sure you give a thumbs up, you do a like, and always join if you'd like to be one of my members. So everyone, thank you so much. I